While I was up here, walking here, having a moment, I took something from you guys that you will never get back, and that is your time. A few seconds, not sure exactly how much, but while I was here, time doesn't pause for my presence. It doesn't pause for anything. We all know that life is a little like an hourglass. We just don't like to acknowledge that the sand is slowly slipping away. But everything shifts the moment that time reveals itself for what it really is, finite. Today, we're going to talk about how borrowing perspective from our futures can help us experience our today a little bit differently. Because we don't need to wait till the end of our hourglass to have that perspective. It's something that we can do right now. Now, the sand at the bottom of our hourglass, it's moments already gone. That's where we find our most cherished memories and a few of our bad decisions. And let's not even get started on our phone screen time, because time is something that we can't earn back. There are no refunds, and you can't save it for later. For me, time shifted the day later disappeared. Shortly after this beautiful family photo shoot, I got a phone call from my doctor, and they had told me that they found evidence of stage 4 cancer on my spine. Now, I had beat early stage breast cancer just a year and a half before this. I was a cancer survivor. Although fear of recurrence is always quietly in the back of your mind, you never actually think it's something that will happen to you. In that moment, all I could see was the sand in my hourglass disappear because stage 4 breast cancer is incurable. How was I going to tell my children, who were only 4 and 6 at the time? I remember going to tell my husband the news, and then these images began flashing through my head. I thought, is this what happens when your life flashes before your eyes? Because it wasn't this grand Hollywood montage of memories like I had always seen in the movies. They were images of my children, but they were grown up. My daughter in a wedding dress on her wedding day, my son, only he was bigger and taller than me. I remember thinking, these are images of the future, a future that I might miss out on. But I would do it all again. Cancer treatment for a second time. 6 more months of chemotherapy, high-dose radiation on my spine. I was signed up for indefinite targeted infusion treatments, which I'm still in ongoing treatment just a few days ago. And the good news is I'm still stable. I also had to have a single session of gamma knife radiation on a single brain tumor that revealed itself in a scan shortly after the initial finding. I was a patient on a first-name basis at that cancer center because I was committed to being aggressive with treatment and doing everything I could to give myself the best possible chances. And I worked really hard on my mindset and belief that I would be the patient that defies all odds. I was doing a very good job of holding on to positivity. But there was one day that really challenged it all. I was signed up for an appointment at this new clinic at the cancer center, and I didn't really think much of it at first. Maybe because I didn't actually know what the word palliative meant. But when I got there, it was made clear to me that my treatment plan had shifted from cure to control, symptom management, quality of life. And although the doctors were being careful with their language, I was trying not to read between the lines. They didn't want to give me any false hope. But let me ask you, is there such thing as false hope? It's just hope. Think about that. Now, on my way out, they handed me a hospice pamphlet for more information. And this hurt because it was a word that I did know. Hospice is a term used for patients who are at the end of their options, the end of their life. I thought, are you serious? I could not believe it. Fear and despair were quite literally folded up into a piece of paper and handed to me to go home. Talk about have a great day. Here's some light reading. So what's a girl to do next? Go to Mexico, obviously. When WebMD isn't doing it for you anymore, you just jump on Expedia. Now, I got there because in one of my random 3 a.m. internet spirals, if you know, you know, I found a retreat for meditation. It focused on teaching you all different kinds of meditation and learning all about the power of the mind-body connection. And I thought, am I going to be determined or desperate? And the answer is both. So here I was at this retreat on day 3, and we started another meditation. I was surrounded by, no kidding, about 1,000 of my very new friends, and our eyes were shut, focused on our breathing, intention set. At this point, I was just proud of myself for being able to sit still for so long, and we drifted into our thoughts. Suddenly, in that meditation, I was transported. All of a sudden, I'm in this doorway of a dimly lit hospital room, and again, I see an image of my daughter who is grown, but this time she's holding a baby of her own. It was the same room that I gave birth to her in all those years before, and my husband was there, and his arm was up on the bed, and they were looking at this baby and smiling and chatting, and then suddenly I felt this heaviness in my chest because I thought, oh, like I'm looking at the future, and it doesn't include me. It was the same room, the same sounds, and the same love, but I was watching from a distance. I didn't make it. But then, almost on cue, they both looked up and locked eyes with me and said, "Mama's here." And in that moment, my eyes popped open, and to my surprise, there were tears streaming down my cheeks. I could not believe what I just saw. More importantly, what I felt. It hit me, I had lost sight of my future that day in the palliative care clinic. But in this meditation, I was in it again. I finally saw myself there. It hit me, you do not need to wait for the future. You can visit it. So when I got home, I needed to know more. I started reading everything I could find, cue a few more 3 a.m. internet spirals, medical journals, neuroscience papers, psychology studies, and then I found a study on episodic future thinking, which is mental time travel. It stated that the same networks in our brains that access our memories also simulate our future. And by using them, we're actually changing how we feel in the present moment. Now, to be very clear, this isn't just daydreaming. When I saw my daughter in that future moment, inside my memory of that hospital room, I was engaging in a process that reduced worry and then took care of my anxiety, fear, and stress. And it's something that everyone can do, and we're gonna do it in 3 simple steps. You're going to see it, feel it, and live it. Now let's do a little mental time travel right now. All you have to do is think in your seat. So think of a moment that's coming up for you in the next few days. Be really specific. It could be an activity, an event, something you're not really looking forward to, something that causes a little stress. Be specific. Now, feel the rush of that moment or that slight annoyance. Now let's travel to the future, somewhere closer to the end. 20, 50, 70 years from now, how old are you? Do you realize that future you would give anything to be back here about to live this upcoming moment, to be this age again, to look this good again? You don't get to come back and play the winning lottery numbers or anything like that, so don't get too excited. But you do get to borrow perspective and experience this moment. Understand this. The moment you're thinking about hasn't happened yet. But by borrowing perspective from our future, we won't just get through it anymore. We'll have a new appreciation for it. The bottom line is, perspective is the only thing that can change a moment without actually changing the moment. Visualization is not enough. You need to take action from this state of awareness. So you've seen it, you felt it, now go live it. What can you do to live these upcoming moments with this new perspective? Maybe you would find something that you can appreciate about your job right now. Or maybe your future self isn't in such a rush to finish that undergraduate degree anymore. If time was really limited, you would savor that bedtime routine with your toddlers. True story, you would, I promise. Or you'd want to slow down those chaotic mornings with your teenagers. Maybe you'd start saying yes to a little bit more fun, saying yes to those things that you always save for later when you have more time, like that really inconvenient concert on a weekday with your friends that you never see. By acting from this state of awareness, we are signaling to our brain that the future is not just a thought, it's being created. And you know what they say, you only live once, YOLO. But what happens when you're hit hard by reality? You might think you would quit your job, do some traveling, renovate your backyard, take some drum lessons. Oddly specific, I know, probably because those are the things I did immediately. I thought, if life is so short, you want to do everything you can. But it was honestly so much pressure. I realized I had to learn how to YOLO responsibly. And it was a little expensive. So I had to learn how to YOLO sustainably. About a year into my treatment, when everything stabilized and I started to, the panic subsided, I thought, should I go back to work? Because to be honest with you, I didn't know if I'd ever have that privilege again. But the fact is, no matter what's happening in our lives, we still have bills to pay and lunches to pack and places to be. Our biggest, scariest problems are always playing out at the exact same time as the most mundane and routine. So I learned you don't need to drastically change your life to live it to the fullest. You just have to change how you experience the life that you already have. Hindsight is 20/20. That's when we look back on a moment like a single grain of sand and think what truly mattered in that moment. Documented conversations with the dying reveal the same regrets over and over again. People regret not living true to themselves. They regret working too much, letting friendships fade, and not expressing their feelings more. People regret not allowing themselves to be happy, thinking they deserve it more later, in the future. Now, what's interesting here isn't how dramatic these regrets are, it's how completely ordinary they are. This is not a call to change your life and quit your job, unless that's what you want it to be. It's a reminder that we all have access to the perspective that you only would usually get at the very end. See it, you feel it, now go live it. Now, I'll admit, when my cancer progressed to stage 4, all I could see was the sand at the top of my hourglass disappear. But borrowing perspective from the future has taught me something different. The hourglass doesn't have to just be a countdown. It's a focusing tool. The future isn't asking us to hurry up, it's asking us to pay attention. Because the most important sand isn't what we've collected at the bottom or what we still have left at the top. It's the sand that's passing through the middle right now. And we all know how this ends. So it's time we start living that way. Thank you.